Are y'all ready to roll? Let's go.
When he pulled me over, he walked up, opened my door because my window don't work, right? Okay. And then I said, so what I did wrong? Yeah. He said, well, for one, your headlights are off under this weather. I'm like, okay. There's multiple people headlights off, first of all. And then there's no rain.
It doesn't matter. You're still required to have headlights on.
Can you pull that law up?
Huh?
Can you pull that law up?
Yeah, when you step out of the car, I will.
Can you call your supervisor?
Huh?
Can you call your supervisor?
All right, go for it.
Exit the vehicle now. Exit the vehicle. Show me your hands.
Here. I'm here. What is your reason, sir?
Step out. What is your reason?
Step out now.
All right.
Get on the ground.
No, don't.
Get on the ground.
Stop fighting.
Put your hands behind your back.
Put your hands behind your back.
I'm resisting.
Hands behind your back.
What's wrong with you?
I was putting my hands behind my back.
Ain't no talking now, man. Ain't no talking.
I'm fucking tooth and shit, bro. I was fooling, bro. What's going on, man?
You're under arrest. That's what's going on.
No, bro.
Yes, bro.
You
Yes.
have a lawful reason, bro.
Big knife center in here, too.
You gonna throw me going like that, bro?
Yeah, I'm gonna take it off of you, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to have a regular conversation with y'all, bro.
That's not how it works.
Too late.
It ain't gonna too late.
When they asked you to step out of the vehicle, you should have done that shit.
Sir, your partner didn't even ask.
Marijuana in his right pocket.
Yes, it is.
So why close the door if you see him pull up?
Because, man, what you mean? He talking about arresting me and stuff, bro. I didn't do nothing.
It's called resisting, idiot.
I didn't do nothing wrong, sir.
We've kind of dumped on Chris Rock because he does bring up a lot of interesting issues, even if we disagree with the good brother. And he's trying to be political. So, of course, we're going to have disagreements with him. But he is very thoughtful at times. Let's run Chris Rock.
Now, we got a lot of things, a lot of racism going on in the world right now. Who's more racist, black people or white people? Black people. You know why? Because we hate black people, too. Everything white people don't like about black people really don't like about black people. There's some shit going on with black people right now. It's like a civil war going on with black people. And there's two sides. It's black people and there's niggas. And niggas have got to go. Every time black people want to have a good time, ignorant ass niggas fuck it up. Can't do shit. Can't do shit without some ignorant ass niggas fucking it up. Can't do nothing. Can't keep a disco open more than 3 weeks. Grand opening, grand closing. Can't go to a movie the first week and come out. Why? Because niggas are shooting at the screen. What kind of ignorant shit is that? Hey, that's a good movie. That's so good, I gotta bust a cap in here. Hey, I love black people, but I hate niggas, bro.
Yeah, Ebony, I don't know. I can't. I find that very self-hating. I find that very anti-black. I don't find, and it's clever, and I understand why people laugh at it, and I might have laughed at that when that aired first. I think that was 20 years ago. But like a deeper understanding of black people, I'm like, no, I can't split black people up like that. I don't think that's fair.
It's a no for me, dog.
Gerald?
I think that our dear brother Chris was in another time, another generation where there were gatekeepers that forced him to use that type of vernacular. It is hilarious and humorous, but it's not an accurate portrayal of what's happening in our communities. And so I think that as we move forward and now we are UNC, we need to make sure that we don't give space to things like that.
Doc, the narrative's been that the media perpetuated and normalized for decades that the black community was only hood culture, but then we sometimes do things to fulfill that picture. Some of our media, as we've said, over focuses on hood culture. I actually want to do one more Chris Rock bite, even though Ebony's going to strangle me after the show for doing this. I'm so sorry, but take another sip of Remy Martin. We're going to watch this and get Dr. B on the other side.
You gotta say that. It ain't us, it's the media. It ain't us, it's the media. The media has distorted our image to make us look bad. Why must you come down on us like that, brother? It ain't us, it's the media. Please cut the fucking shit, okay? 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 When I go to the money machine tonight, all right? I ain't looking over my back for the media. I'm looking for niggas. Shit. Ted Koppel never took shit from me. Niggas have.
Doc, the joke is about being afraid of black people. I'm not afraid of black people. Even at night at the ATM, I see another black person. My thought is not, oh, I'm afraid they might rob me. I'm like, that's my brother or that's my sister. I'm not afraid of black people on the street. And that is some anti-black shit to joke about.
I think that you live in a bubble called fairy tale sometimes. I live in a city called Los Angeles, where the crime rate is high, the black on black crime rate is high, that I went to dinner about 2 months ago. Had a nice bag and some nice boots and got in my Bentley in a parking lot, drove off at about 1 a.m., realized about half a mile that I was getting followed by a Mercedes-Benz full of niggas. I got on the freeway, I called LAPD and said, hey, I'm being followed. They said, oh my gosh. I keep driving. LAPD says, hey, we're going to put our lights on behind you. When we do, just exit the freeway like we're pulling you over. Well, I followed the rules and the protocol. I got off. I parked on the side. LAPD gets out like they're pulling me over. The car full of niggas got off with us. They made a left and parked right there on the side. And the officer said, you were definitely being followed. He took his flashlight, flashed at them, and those niggas got in and went the total opposite way on the freeway from the way that we were going. The officer said, wow, they were bold. They got off the freeway, waited for us to give you a ticket, and was going to resume to follow you home. Now, if you ask me, was I afraid for my life, or was I the hood little girl who said, whoa, I can't believe that this is really the norm of what happens to people who have made it out the hood and now have things like a Bentley, materialistic things to show for the money, the hardworking money they're making. The reality is you get followed home. Now watch this. Had they followed me all the way home, that would have been another black on black crime. Let me go back. Actually, being followed was a black on black crime. So whatever bubble you live in as a black woman, there are certain groups of people, whether they're black or not, but that night happened to be black. Toure, do not cut me off right now. Who we do have the right to make sure that we are more aware of our surroundings, to make sure that we are not trying to be so egocentric to say, I ain't afraid of nothing. I'm not afraid of my own people, because that's anti-blackness. No, that's called anti-fairy tale. And the reality is there's a big issue with black on black crime that's even a bigger issue than crime at the hands of police brutality. And here in LA, hold on, 3 days ago, we had 2 beautiful young ladies shot up in their car in the inner city at the hands of another black person, at the hands of another black woman. So when you say, oh, I'm not afraid of my black people, no, there's a reality, Toure, of criminals who happen to make sure that they are black, who do prey on other black people who may look like me and may not look like me. And we cannot sit up here on our media and make it seem like we do not have to be observant of our environment as black people just because somebody else happens to be black. That is not true.
Ebony, you know, when I moved through New York City, you know who I'm afraid of? NYPD. That is the people who I understand are most likely to end my life or to damage my body or to ruin my day. NYPD. If I was in LA, it would be LAPD. They are the true people that you should be afraid of in your city. I am actually, in fact, the crime rate in New York and LA and most American big cities is way down versus 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago. We are actually doing extremely well policing crime in big cities in this country. Obviously, we can all name some examples of crime. Crime will never be zero, not in a big city. But like, Ebony, I fear NYPD. That's how I move around.
You fear NYPD, but you just said we're doing an extremely great job of policing crime. Toure, contradictive, but go ahead, Ebony. But you're afraid of the folks you just said are doing a great job of policing crime.
Yeah, I don't understand why you can't understand the difference there.
Because the crime they're policing oftentimes does look like us, and you can live in your bubble. But in order for us to really bring awareness to our community, we have to call things out when we're talking about real situations and issues.
Why do we need Candace Owens when we have you? We are not the leaders of crime. Like, what are you talking about? Crime statistics are manipulated by the police to make us look bad. Like, what are you talking about?
Toure, I just gave you a real life situation that happened to me, and that's not somebody who manipulated that story. That happens.
Let me jump in here. Crime is at an all-time low, especially in major cities. 60% of violent crime is committed by the majority community. So black on black crime is not a thing. What it actually is, crime happens in proximity to individuals. And as somebody who works with alleged incidents every single day, we have to remember that crime happens in proximity. Yes, that was a true story that happened to you. I'm sorry that it happened to you, but you are more likely to get injured by the police than you are by another person. There have been 1,200 police-involved killings in this country this year alone. And since George Floyd, it's always been over 1,000. There are 14,000 homicides as reported by the FBI in 2019. They still haven't released the 2022 statistics. You have to remember 14,000 homicides in a country of 333 million people. So the media does do a great job of perception of black on black crime, but it's not a thing. We have to remember that, yes, there is crime and it happens in proximity to individuals. So we just have to lead with that. The most important thing is the conditions that give rise to crime are not being addressed by our government. And that's why you have some perception that there may be more crime in certain areas than others. But the police do not stop crime. They respond to it.
That's correct. That's correct. It's very rare for the police to intervene in an ongoing moment of crime. They are decent at coming behind afterwards and finding the people, but they are not the people who are stopping crime.
And they don't prevent it either. Because when I asked them, hey, can you pull these guys over or address them? And they said there hasn't really technically been a crime committed. And so, again, they're not intervening and they're not the ones that are stopping it. They come as the aftermath to enforce what they do, called law enforcement. Gerald, love your statistics that you gave. No, I highly respect you. However, statistics and experience are two different things. If we went into the inner city anywhere in the United States of America and talked to people who are living in the projects, who are living in the hood, they would say that they are experiencing crime at the hands of people that look like them. Doesn't mean that they're talking down to our community. We have to remember that being a sensitive community to the truth doesn't help us, it hurts us. And there's many people who are having conversations with myself as president of NAACP here in Los Angeles about the issue that they are having with something called public safety, that they are not feeling safe in their neighborhood, and who is in proximity to them happen to be black and brown people. And so they are feeling like the crime for them is coming at the hands of their neighbors in their community that happen to look like us, which are black. And so when I'm looking at statistics, I'm also listening to experiences, because my role as a leader is to make sure that I'm helping real people with real situations and not statistics that we don't understand where or how they could have been manipulated or created, which our brothers have already said earlier on.
I just don't understand how Gerald can clearly explain the situation that you just don't understand what he said whatsoever. The people he said crime is generally committed as a proximity thing. You commit crime in your neighborhood generally. Most people do not leave their neighborhood to commit crime. So yes, if you live in a segregated community, if you live in a segregated
black neighborhood,
yes, but like that does not mean that black people should be fearing black people. Black on black crime is not a thing. It does not exist.
First of all, black crime. Toure and Gerald, listen. Black on black crime does exist. If somebody robs another black person, that is called black on black crime. If somebody murders another black person, that is called black on black crime. If we want to say it doesn't exist at the level of police brutality, that's fine. But it does exist. A black person committing a crime on another black person is black on black crime. Where are y'all not seeing this at? Where are you not seeing that being black on black crime? Go ahead, Gerald.
What I'm saying is you don't ever hear a white on white crime. And if they're committing 60% of the crime, there is a crime epidemic in the white community. But we never hear that in black media, white media, or any type of media. Does America have a crime problem? Yes. But do we disproportionately focus on the quote offenders as being black all the time? Absolutely. That's why when I travel this country, but particularly this state, and I go into places where they have 10% African Americans, but I go in the courtroom and it's 90%, I'm starting to think, what is really going on here? There's an over-policing issue.
Over-policing.
Again,
over-policing.
Everything
that they are placing officers in our neighborhoods to catch us. And they know that they could catch as many people if they were in the suburbs and the exurbs. But they are placed in our communities because we have less political power, not because we are committing more crime.
Okay, so now you made, Gerald, now you made a little more sense to it. Not because we're creating more crime, but we are still having crime created at the hands of us on people that look like us. And y'all can sit here and not want to address that, but we don't resolve by not addressing it. We still have to make sure we hold ourselves accountable as leaders to say, even if the crime is 3% and white on white crime is 60%, we still have to address that problem. That doesn't make it not a problem, Gerald, because it's less percentile than another race of people who media is not covering. We still have a problem that we have to address, brother.
No, but what I'm saying, and we do address it every single day in a courtroom throughout this country. We address the allegations of criminal behavior between citizens. But nowhere in the court system do we sit there and quantify, okay, this person killed another black person, so that's black on black crime, or this white person killed another white person, that's white on white crime. We don't do that. We focus on the facts specific to that incident, and if it's proven beyond a reasonable doubt, they hold that person accountable and they go to some type of correctional facility or they get put on probation. In Georgia, we have the highest amount of people on citizens control probation. And so they are dealing with that every single day. But to have this continued narrative that there's disproportionately black on black crime feeds into the mass incarceration, which feeds into the prison industrial complex, which we are trying to stop. So all I'm saying is, if we're going to talk about crime, yes, America has a crime problem. Is it as bad as it was in the 90s? Absolutely not. Crime is so far down in most major cities and around the country. So we just have to make sure we're comparing apples to apples and not apples to oranges.
One of the things that we have to keep in mind is that black people are seen quite often as representative of the entire group, where white people remain unique individuals. So people say, a black person committed a crime against me, black people are criminals. That area is unsafe. But when white people rob you, you don't say white people are unsafe or that whole area is unsafe. You remind me of a cab driver that I took a ride from a long time ago, black guy. I must have jumped into his cab as somebody else was getting out, so he didn't have the opportunity to say no. And he started talking to me and he said he does not take black fares. And I said, why? Because another person he knows was almost shot by a black person. And I'm like, okay, that one black person has nothing to do with me. Why are you judging me based on the actions of that other situation? He would not say, oh, a white person almost mugged somebody or did mug somebody, so now I don't want to take white fares. That would never happen. Why is it okay? Why do we say black criminality equals black behavior? We don't say that for white people. That is the racist mentality. That is the white supremacist mentality, that we are criminal. I refuse to be afraid of black people in my community. I just won't. No matter how much white supremacist programming I get that tells me I should, I reject it at every turn.
I just want to, for my own clarity, are you two men saying that, take terminology off the table, because we're not talking about black on black crime or white on white crime. Let's just talk about crime in proximity. Are you two black men sitting on here saying that I don't fear black people because of X, Y, and Z, or we shouldn't fear black people because of X, Y, and Z? She is a black woman telling you she was followed home by black men. My home has been broken into twice, and I live in a nice area. But as a black female, if I'm running down the streets of Atlanta, I am not looking over my shoulder for Tekapel. I'm just not. Yeah. Maybe you guys, that's not your experience as black men, but what she's telling you, our audience is 70-something% black women. And we feel threatened at all fucking times. Wait, let me finish, Doc. Let me finish. We feel threatened at all fucking times. And one of the things that we constantly have to come back to is Black men never understand that.
Never protect
understand that
armor, and that's what y'all do. When I was about to go there,
you guys are doing it right now.
Now y'all doing it right now.
Yeah.
No protective, not having my back, telling me I shouldn't be afraid.
You sat there and said, I refuse to be afraid of Black people. Me too. But there's a reality to it. When I'm standing somewhere as a Black woman and I'm feeling threatened in a group and I'm surrounded by mostly Black men, you think I'm looking at the white dude, or am I looking at these Black men who are supposed to be protecting me? I'm definitely afraid. And I'm not afraid because they're Black. I'm afraid because there's a danger element. And so it's really weird for me to hear you guys say in one breath, I don't want to be afraid of Black people. Gerald, you sit in the courtroom all day with a bunch of people that actually are criminals.
No, I don't. And that's why I'm going to push back on that.
Okay.
And that's what I don't think you guys understand. This system is set up to incarcerate Black men. And
wait, let me go off camera so you guys can have the conversation together, because I want to go off camera. I just want to stir it up a little bit, because I'm like, our audience is mainly women, and they're going to be listening to this like,
and the people that are sending Black men to prison in Atlanta are women, Black women. But I don't want to have this conversation because it's going to become more of the manosphere versus Black women, because again, there's a conversation that's
a gender war. It's a gender war.
No, we can talk about it though.
It'll come out like a gender war.
It is a gender war.
Yeah.
And what's happening is you're failing to recognize that simply because you are afraid of one or two Black men, that fear is being weaponized against all.
Can we go on camera?
No, it's not. No, but that's where, let me finish, Doc. That is where you're wrong. I will stake my life and run oiled up naked through a crowd of Black men because that's how much I trust Black men. I don't fear Black men. I don't fear my people, but there are certain scenarios where you could. I was just on a cruise ship 2 weeks ago, and they was acting a damn fool, and I feared for my safety as a Black woman. These young dudes, they were like 21, 22. These young dudes could have cared less that I was a woman in just my bathing suit walking on this cruise ship, just trying to have a good time like them. They were pushing a chair into me.
Respected that, but like when we step back and look at this from a 10,000 foot
view, we're saying
that's why I'm trying to tell you, you're saying the same thing. There is the 10,000 square foot view. We all agree on that. Nobody on this call agrees that there's like that Black on Black crime's not made up. What she's saying to you, and she said it twice now, and what I've said to you guys is a step further than that. There is very palpable, real danger for women. And so you just have to give her space to be able to say that and not tell her that it's in her head or that it's a statistic. It's not.
And locking them up is not going to solve the issue. It's going to create more problems. It's going to create more criminals. It's going to create more fear. And what I'm simply saying is no Black person has ever threatened my life. But white people have, and they do it on a daily because of my position. So I'm not sitting here saying, "Oh, I don't believe it happened to you." I agree it happened to you. But if we're on these platforms having this conversation that's going to be broadcast to millions, it's going to be weaponized, and it's going to be used to incarcerate more young African American men that are going to create a continuous cycle that's going to continue to destroy the Black community. And I will not have a part of it.
I don't understand the notion that a Black person committed crime, so then I am afraid of Black people committing crime. That's not
what I said. Toure, you said you're not afraid of Black people. I said you can have that, own that. No one's taking your agency. We're not arguing that down. Stop trying to argue something that I said is yours. You own it. What I'm saying is y'all can talk about stats all you want, which is also systemically white created and manipulated. Stand on that. I'm talking about real life experiences that doesn't say I am in fear of all Black people, that talk about the real lack of public safety in inner cities and certain hoods where we do need a police presence that may be called over policing, because in certain areas in certain areas there are crimes that do need police there and police presence to make a difference. Yes. Now, again, I come from the inner city. I grew up in the hood. I now live in the hills. The difference between me walking from where I am now in the hills to the gas station or to Starbucks is a very, very different public safety experience than when I was even a teenager walking in the hood from just my house to the corner liquor store to get some gum or to get some candy. Even the things I was exposed to as a young girl is very different. Y'all can live in your lens so that you can satisfy a certain group, our community of Black people who are sensitive to what you're saying. I'm a woman who has never been afraid to speak my truth and ruffle feathers. I don't care about rocking the boat. There is a issue with Black on Black crime. It may not be the only crime. I agree with that. I do agree that they do push the narrative to shine a light on that particular issue in our community to make us fit into a narrative that we don't always fit into. But it doesn't mean that we still don't need to address the fact that when a Black person is in the inner city, when a Black woman is at a gas station or doing something that we don't experience, alongside Black men, don't experience crime at the hands of another Black person. It doesn't have to be a Black man. It could be a Black woman on Black woman. What I'm saying is it exists. And until we as Black people start to do things differently and stop being such a fucking overly sensitive race of people, we're not going to see changes while we babysit and coddle bad behavior because we want to use statistics and numbers so Black people don't feel ruffled. Sorry, we got a lot of marginalized issues that we have to address. And as Gerald and I, being leaders of the biggest civil rights organization, we have to talk to that more, Gerald. Love you and respect you, brother, but we got to keep it real with our people so people like myself who have had this issue and this experience feel supported by Black people, not just by Black men. And I don't feel like I have to argue my point of something that happened to me at the hands of Black people for y'all to say, no, sis, maybe it doesn't happen every day, but Black on Black crime is a real thing. It may not happen all day, but it happens, and it doesn't make it right.
And I guess my response would be, as somebody who sits in courtrooms every single day, I see all crime, and all crime should be addressed. But I would not allow the weaponization of the Black on Black crime narrative to destroy our community. I understand that a majority of this audience is Black female, but I would also understand the majority of the prison system is Black men, many of which who've been unjustly targeted, many of which have been disproportionately incarcerated, and we have to deal with a carceral state. Being in fear of a Black person is something that we have to address. I agree with you. And as a leader in Atlanta, a leader in the state of Georgia, we would deal with it every single day. But I've been in the prison system here in Georgia. I've been in the jails in Macon and Fulton County. I've seen the dilapidated conditions. And if you think calling the police and incarcerating somebody is going to make it safer for you, you're sorely mistaken, because when they get out after they have dealt with the stabbings, the beatings, the killings, the malnutrition, the lack of any appropriate health care, you're in a more dangerous state. So we got to figure out a way to address this. The answer is not more mass incarceration. I'm sure a majority of our audience would say that, because again, when they call me about their son who's been pulled over by the police and evidence has been planted on him, or he's been accused of something he didn't do simply because of the color of his skin, we're going to have an even bigger issue. So this is a multifaceted issue. I think we have to have a solution, but the solution is not more mass incarceration, not more mass policing.
I appreciate that you got out of that situation with the police. It would take an extraordinary situation for me to call the police, because I feel anytime the police shows up, it's 50-50, I might get arrested or shot, even if I'm the one who called them. So I don't see them as a source of peace or protection at all, right? So, I mean, like, that to me, the people who choose that profession, those are the people that I need to be afraid of. Those are the people who are much more dangerous to me than anybody else. Black, brown, if they're blue, I am afraid of them. I don't even want to talk to any of them. My God.
And so Toure, ask you this, Toure. So what you're doing is, you're on this platform, a True Talks, Black voice, Black media, and you're telling our people in the community, don't call the police when you are at the hands of being victimized, because the police is going to come and not solve the problem. So sit there and allow yourself to be victimized, or just go ahead and try to protect yourself. And hopefully you'll make it out well, or hopefully the other people will be at the hands of you having to victimize them. That sounds like absolutely absurd advice. You're telling them do not call the police. You're saying you're saying don't call the police, because when the police come, they're not going to help you. My question to you is, right, as a uncle who's been a sheriff for 30 years, retired, a brother who's 14-year LAPD right now, and a little girl who grew up in the hood, to a father who was actually a street dude. We already know that. Street dude, sold drugs, straight gangster, turned his life around before he passed away, not passed, but many years before he passed away. I always grew up, even though I had a father who was a street guy, feeling like the police were someone I called and would protect me. I never had an issue with police officers. When I was at school and even in high school and decided to ditch school, I had an officer pick me up in the car, bring me back and say, Cheyenne, we're bringing you back to school. And those are white officers. I wasn't, and I'm president of the biggest advice organization who deals with police brutality all day long. I'm able to separate me not having a bad experience with law enforcement and hear the experiences of the people I'm leading who have, and not project the fact that, well, I never had that experience and say that doesn't exist because I never had that experience, and say, wait a minute, if y'all believe that police brutality is an issue and that's been your experience, I know how to separate it as a leader and fight for that. What you're saying is your experience is never been afraid of Black people, don't call the police. And because that's your experience, you want to project that on other people who actually have been criminalized at the hands of their own people and may feel safe with calling the police. How do you separate the two, Toure? Where's the emotional intelligence
it's really
behind?
Weird that you're like, a Black person committed a crime, ergo Black people are criminal and you have a right to be afraid of them.
I didn't say all of them. I didn't say all of them. I didn't say all of them. A group of them, not all, Toure.
Who said all? I never said all. Let me talk.
I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you, Toure. I'm not afraid of you. You're not committing a crime on me. I'm not afraid of you.
This is, I mean, I feel like I'm talking to somebody who just cannot comprehend what I'm saying. It's crazy. I mean, like,
no, you're talking to a woman that you cannot support as a Black man. You can't even support me as a Black woman in my experience.
I am in a system where I cannot trust the police, where I know constantly that they will attack and arrest people like me. I'm not telling others they can't do it. I'm saying that I'm already in a situation where I cannot trust the police. And I am in a situation where I don't assume the criminality of Black people because another Black person somewhere else committed a crime. Like that.
And both can't, but Toure, both can exist. What I'm saying is both can exist. You can be afraid of police all you want. I can be one that says I found safety in them. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of Gerald. You guys are not criminals to me. I can also say if I'm out somewhere and I feel threatened and that person happens to be Black, then that is a person at that time that I have to be aware of. If I'm somewhere with a white person and I feel threatened, I have to be aware of that white person as well. I tend to frequent more places with Black people. That's just what I do. My environment tends to be more Black. So if I'm in a threatening environment within proximity, we just got through talking about, my proximity is going to be Black people. I'm not out in Newport Beach just with all white people. I happen to love my people, so I spend time with us. And is there times where there can be threats in that environment? Yes. And if you guys want to sell that fake narrative to people and not show them the support that we need as a Black community to say, we support you guys on all crime. We also support you on a Black and Black crime. It doesn't make it different or okay because it's a Black person who has been the one to project a crime or a threat on you. That's not how it goes. And as Black men, I really wish y'all would have done a better job at supporting me as your sister because I never once called you all criminals. I never once said that you are our brothers I'm afraid of. I said I respect both of you, but we can't negate the experience of people who are in the hood, who are really having issues with crime and not having public safety. Period.
If you didn't know me, you'd be afraid of me.
This is my question, and I appreciate the fact that you didn't consider us threats or you didn't consider us to be dangerous individuals. But this is a personal experience for Black men, and I think this is where the narrative gets missed.
Okay.
If you have that experience, which is your right to have that experience, I'm not saying that there are not Black people who are threatening, but I know what this system will do. And so if you call them and say, hey, they're threatening Black guys around us, me and Toure are a part of whether you think we're threats or not, the system thinks we're threats. So Gerald Griggs, lawyer, dad, none of that crap matters. It's big, scary Black guy. And now it's weaponizing. And I think that's what's missing in the conversation. We have this Black woman, Black man conversation when it comes to safety and the police. You're saying you don't feel supported. We're saying we fear for our lives. Because a police encounter for any Black man is a life and death situation. And I come from a family of law enforcement. My father-in-law is law enforcement. My ex-father-in-law was law enforcement. My uncle and my aunt, law enforcement. And they still give us the same conversation. If you are in a situation where law enforcement is contacted, you need to operate this way. That's for a 47-year-old black man. And so for black men to hear that coming from black women, now it's like, okay, we got a real issue here. Because yes, are there YNs out there that are out of control? Absolutely. Let us handle them. I don't want to be getting a call from their mother. Because I get these calls.
No, because what you said was good. You said, let us handle them.
Let us handle it.
I want to pin it right there, because how often are you brothers really handling it? How often are you guys really having our back? How often hold on, if you and Toure are in an environment with me and you don't know me, but I'm a black woman, and Day, Dante are antagonizing me as a woman, right? How often do the Toures and the Geralds, y'all being present, handle it for me? Y'all don't. We're not going to play that. Y'all don't.
It depends on how much you're talking about. I wouldn't witness somebody who even if I don't know them, I would not witness a man aggressing toward a woman, whatever race, and say nothing. Right. So it depends. Like, how aggressive are we talking about? Like, what is it?
Whoa,
like,
whoa,
is he just,
hold on.
He's like clearly like, if he's like,
I love this.
Like,
hold on, Toure. I love this because all the women who are in the chat, please go in there, sis, and y'all need to align and support me in this, because what they're saying is, depending on the level of threat, depending on the level of aggression, that is dependent or going to predicate on how much they have my back as a black woman.
Yeah,
that is so fucking sad.
I mean, if you guys are just arguing, I shouldn't jump in. If he's threatening you, I should jump in. I need to know, like, what are we talking about?
If you see men antagonizing a woman and you see fear or threat on her face.
What does antagonizing mean?
You know what, Toure? If I have to explain that to you, you are not the brother who would have my back.
I mean, if y'all are just talking, then no, I shouldn't jump in. Like,
Gerald, you know how many times that happens? Or you can see a black man going in on even his girlfriend or whatever in public. I've been in environments even at my age, and some of them ain't just YNs, and other black men walk by like that ain't my problem. I've been in the courthouse and seen someone getting a restraining order on somebody in the parking lot. The black man is literally verbally, aggressively attacking this woman, just not physically, and black men just walk by and be like, yo, I don't want to get involved with that because you don't know what that could mean for me. That is our problem as sisters. At what point do y'all look to protect us? Hold on. If y'all are checking the other black men who are doing this behavior that is going to cause them to do jail time or be arrested, then guess what? We don't have to call the police because we know y'all will police them for us. But y'all not policing shit. You could barely police yourself. That leaves us feeling unsupported. And as I tell you this, Gerald looks like listening. Toure looks like he's in his feminine energy of, oh no, Doc, you look like you're listening, Gerald, because that is a problem of the gender wars. It's at what point can y'all police us for us? When can you police your own men, your own brothers, so that we don't have to do it? So we don't have to do it, Gerald. We're tired of doing that shit for ourselves and for you.
So I guess my question is, and this is an honest question here. All right, so if it's incumbent upon every black man in the country to address that issue, what happens when one black man does stand up and address the issue and then he gets hate from black women? I'll give you an example. There was a predator running around our community. He'd been running around our community for 25 years. And people were like, hey, somebody needs to do something about this. This guy's attacking black women, particularly young black women. And so me and Toure took it upon ourselves to do something about that. And we got extreme hate from black sisters all over the country because they wanted to hear this man at family unions and all these things. And so I guess as a black man who has stood up on multiple occasions, where's the love for those black men when they do stand up?
First of all, let me tell you I'm sorry. And I do apologize and I take accountability for Black women. If you stood up for us as a collective and you had our back and you honored us in those ways and you didn't receive your flowers. And I'm not saying you did it to receive recognition, because me feeling like I know the type of man you are, Joe, you're not doing it to get the acknowledgement, but you're doing it because that's the character of man you are. So again, apologize for that experience. But what I do want to say is when that does happen, at least with me, because Toure's heard me talk about this. I have brothers and cousins men in my family and my father who are very stand-up men. I can make a phone call in any environment, and they'll come either talk it out, or I'm gonna go there or air it out. And that's just keeping it real. And I give them their flowers all the time. I praise them. I'm saying thank you. When they arise to the scene, if I'm still in my own upsetness, being hostile, and they say, shut up, guess what I try to do? Shut up. Because now they've arrived. And the last thing I want to do is make the situation worse for them when they're trying to protect me. And so again, to answer your question, we should not be ridiculing you all in any way, no matter what. What we should be doing is communicating with you guys as Black men and say what we need to feel supported. And then in turn say, okay, Toure, Gerald, every other Black man, how can we support you all so that you can protect us in those ways? What do you need from us? If you want us to call the police, which I'm not a police caller, but if you need us to not call the police, can we depend on you to support us?
That's all we have for tonight. Thank you for all the super chats you got coming in. Like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel at TruthTalks-Live. Don't forget to support Black media at CashApp, TruthTalksLIve, or use any of the links on your screen to help support our show so we can continue to argue with Dr. B again. Get your Truth Talks membership today. Click here on the screen and choose from 3 different exciting tiers. Small businesses and influencers can partner with us by visiting TruthTalksLive.com. Black media is under attack, y'all. This show is being shadow banned. So help us out. Support us by telling a friend to tell a friend to check out Truth Talks every night, 8 p.m. EST, 8 p.m. PST. We'll be back every night to argue weeknights at 8 p.m.
Exit the vehicle now. Exit the vehicle. Show me your hands. Here.
What is your reason, sir? What is your reason?
That was a traffic stop. He's not a mass murderer. It was a fucking traffic stop. That's why I'm more afraid of the police than of any criminal. The police don't have to de-escalate if they don't fucking want to. And they don't have to show any respect for your humanity if they don't want to. And they know there's no accountability for their actions coming at any fucking time. This video makes me sick to my stomach. It makes me afraid for my life, for my kids' life. It makes me question, what are we doing in this country when we treat young Black people like that? Why is that as American and as typical as apple fucking pie?